Hi, my name is Jay Bernard, and I'm a student doing research at the University of Kentucky in the biology department. And here, I'm going to show you a cool new open-ended experiment through backyard brains. So how is it that we measure and sense our environment? Touch, smell, and taste. So how do we measure those? Well, with Backyard Brain's new Spiker box, we can. We measure the extracellular potential on the nervous system of both the blue crab and the cockroach. So, I hope you enjoy your experiment. We're now trying a crab leg that was taken off a blue crab, and we're getting some activity. single leg to the stick. And this is better with 2 people, but you'll put a little glue on this side here. And it's best to do this with an accelerator. It makes the process a little faster. Get the stick, and you'll add your stick here like this, and then you can get the accelerator. Wait a second for it to dry, and then you turn it over. Now you can put your 2 little pins as such. So to measure the chemosensory nerve here, you can put 1 in here like the middle, as such. And you can put a little glue again. Accelerator. And then you'll do your second one. You're kind of going to have to move it and go under the joint here. So you kind of bend it up like this. And go up to the joint. Under the cuticle. And you can also glue this as well. And now you're ready to do readings. So now we're going to look at the crayfish, and this is very similar to the blue crab, except there's not as many hairs on the outside here, you can see. So instead we're going to look at the tips here. And then to do so, we can plug little pins right here into this first joint here, and then again in the joint over here, and then you can put the ground in either the thorax or the lower leg. And now it's also a very good idea to look at the sound, or listen to the sound, and you can turn it on like this. So now we're going to start touching here. So you can try other ways to stimulate the nerve besides just on the teeth here. You can go on the outside of the claw here, as well as on the upper claw. If it gives a lot of firing, you can also just wait a second until it dies down here and then give it another try. And then you can also pinch it. Be careful though to not let it pinch you. So this can be also done with a lobster prep. So with the lobster, even though they have a bigger claw, you might have to push a little harder, and they do have a lot more hairs, so you should get more of a stimulant on the nerve. But you need to be careful with the claws and probably leave the rubber band on them because they are more dangerous than the crayfish. and they will bleed some more, so you might need to add a little bit more glue or the clay as we showed earlier. So you can easily remove these pins by pulling out, and once you pull these out, the crayfish can be used for other experiments and is not harmed.
Here, it's still going.
So after you pull these legs out, you need to be careful not to pull too hard on the claw though, because it could autotomize, and then you would have a legless crayfish. So in this experiment, you can use both the audio and the visual component by using the splitter. This is a Radio Shack splitter, but I'm sure you can order it through Amazon or Backyard Brains, and you just plug it in like this, and then this will go to the audio amplifier in the input. You plug it in one side, and then the visual connected to the iPad on the other side, and you're ready to go.
Hi, my name is Rachel Holsinger, and I'm a local high school teacher here in Lexington, Kentucky. I've used the Backyard Brains spiker boxes for several years, and I've used 5 different organisms when I've done these labs with my students. I've used cockroaches, crayfish, crickets, lobsters, and blue crabs. And crickets are easy to get at your local pet store, and you can follow the directions on Backyard Brains to be able to use those cricket legs with their experiment spiker boxes. Cockroaches can be purchased at your local pet store, or you might be able to get them at a biological supply house. Cockroaches, you need to make sure that you anesthetize them before you remove their legs. So if you put them in ice water, that way you're sure that they don't actually experience any pain when you cut their leg off. Crayfish are really nice because you can buy them at your local pet store, or you can get them through a biological supply house, or you might be even able to get them at a local bait store. They can be housed in a fish tank in your classroom, and you can keep them long term. When you use their legs, what's nice is that they'll autotomize their leg, and if you pinch them, they'll donate their leg to science, so you don't have to worry about harming the animal. I've also used lobsters in my classroom, and we here in Lexington, Kentucky can purchase lobsters at our local Chinese market or at our local grocery store. And lobsters are nice because their legs are much larger, and so it's easier for students who have issues with dexterity or who might not have really good lab technique to be able to see the spikes and be able to use that preparation with the spiker boxes. In the rest of this video, you're going to see the use of blue crab legs, and what's nice about blue crabs is that we can buy those also at our grocery store, our Chinese market. If you're going to use cockroaches and house them long term, you want to make sure that you have a secure enclosure. And to create that secure enclosure, you want to use a 10-gallon tank with a metal lid, and you want to cover that metal lid with burlap because cockroaches won't chew through the burlap. You also want to make sure that you use a small amount of Vaseline between the lid and the wall of the tank, because that way when the cockroaches start reproducing, they actually can't crawl between the wall of the tank and the lid.
These responses can be quantified and graphed. You can then start on your own hypothesis-based experiment. Some possible variables include force and location of touch, rate of joint movement, temperature such as hot or cold, or the application of various chemicals.